Hello and welcome to my channel. Just today my friend from UK, his YouTube username would be the Yorkshire Bladesman, just reached the 50th subscriber mark. Congrats on that, mate. More power, and wishing you more subscribers and more views, and have that channel of yours succeed. He was doing a Q&A, and that gave me an idea to make this video. I actually asked him if what type of knife is he fond of collecting. Now, after I asked that question, I also asked myself that question, because as I told him, it's usually the type of question that I ask most of the knife aficionados or of knife enthusiasts that I meet. I mean, what type of knife do you prefer to have, or do you want to end up in your collection? So of course, this video is about that. What type of knife do you lean to in collecting or keeping, or just something to have with you? Now, the knives here in front of you is the type of knife that I would usually want to collect. Not exactly, but the main classification of knives that I usually end up getting. First off, the main decision in making, or the main decision in determining what type of knife would be, is it going to be a fixed blade knife, or is it going to be a folding knife? Fixed blade knife has their advantages. A fixed blade knife, of course, would always remain a one-piece blade. That knife, when you take it out of the sheath, would already be a one-piece blade. Biggest advantage of having a fixed blade is it doesn't have a point of failure. Take it out of the sheath, and the knife is ready to be used. Now, fixed blade knife, I still compartmentalize them in two different parts. This one, small one, although not as short, is for a multitasking use. You cannot chop with this. It's very light and small, but it's good for fine work with whatever you have, cutting rope, wood, something, getting some kindling, and so on and so forth, stuff like that. Now, the tracker knife, which is one of my most favorite configuration in a knife, is built so that it has some weight to it. It can be used for chopping things, although it doesn't have the purpose or the function of a big machete that you can machete, or a big bolo that you have lots of momentum going into the chop. This one can do its job in small amounts, and just big enough that it can still fit in the side of your thigh or inside a bag without having that really long girth of a big knife. See the difference? Huge difference. So, fixed blades, and then there's folding blades. The main thing about folders is that when you pull them out of your pocket, pull them out of your bag or whichever it came from, you will have to deploy it and then hope that the blade would come out. There's a very little chance of the blade not coming out, but just for example, it was sitting like this, and then your bag got your rucksack, or your, if it's in the side of your pocket, and then you fell on a rock or something and it deformed something here, or broke the pivot, that when you do that, the blade just fell off, or the blade is not able to come out of that channel at all. Those are the limitations of the fixed blade. The folding blades. That folding mechanism is, although that makes it smaller, comparatively smaller than a fixed blade, that is also its main disadvantage of it failing in certain times that you, and those times that you really need it. So, fixed blade, the folding blades, I have one perennial favorite, and it would be this guy. This guy is mainly a defensive blade. Yes, we can argue that each and every blade that you have, even though it's a box cutter, it can function as a defensive tool. But the box cutter with its thin blade can break, and so on and so forth. This is the blade that of choice if ever I would want it to be carrying, if ever I would be carrying it with me, concealed, out of the way, and just coming out when the time comes that I really need it. And this would be none other than a karambit. Now, karambits are very specific to that defensive role. And don't get me wrong, my karambits also come out if I need to cut some boxes or some tape, some ropes. It functions perfectly for those mundane everyday things, and it falls in my everyday carry most of the time. Karambits such as this, Emerson design, has this Emerson wave and has that one pull deployment from the pocket. Coming from the pocket, you just need to get hold of that, and this little tab here catches on whatever material you have in your pocket, be it you need to train with it on what angle you're going to be pulling, and that just deploys fast. So my first choice and my favorite everyday carry would be a karambit. Now, karambit has one very specific function and one very striking feature, and that's the curved blade. And a curved blade is not that good for camp duties. Just well, let's say you're gonna be slicing some onions, slicing some potatoes, slicing some sausage, and so on and so forth. You need to have something that is specific for that and would make your life easier. This on a chopping board would not reach the whole length because of that concave or that curve. Now for slicing duties, it would be the job of that kind of blade. It has that nice curve on the belly, and it would be nice for slicing and cutting things. Now, the other the other feature would be this here on the design on the upper part. This is more of a Persian style blade. Now I really like Persian blades because it again falls into the defensive type of category. See, me being used to holding karambits, you usually hold this in the reverse talon grip. That's the reverse talon grip. This is the talon grip and how you usually hold a knife. Now, being used to the karambit, I'm more of a reverse talon guy. And what the Persian excels in is that it mimics a dagger like thing when you're holding it in the reverse talon grip. It follows that curve of your elbow. It's not a straight thing. You're not doing that straight. It's a curve thing. It's how your elbow is made. So when your elbow is doing that motion, the Persian tip or the Persian upsweep here just follows that, and it's very good for hooking, especially when you're training with karambits. See, it's reversed. But with the Persian thing, with the Persian style knife, you have that piercing advantage of whatever it is you would need to be piercing. So you have that utility of a camp knife that you can slice things with it. Plus, when you do the reverse talon, you have that piercing ability that you can just hook things coming into you, and that's when your motions or that's when your actions are stronger. Spak hook. You are strongest with this kind of thing. And as you can tell, there's no serrations in the blade, just smooth. Now, serrations. Well, first off, this is the Kershaw Tremor. That was a Ganso that I was holding with the Persian. And this is an assisted opening knife. And it's very popular, this knife. For good reason. It's good quality and not that expensive. It's made in China, but the build quality is there. Only thing with this assisted opening is this: if ever that torsion bar breaks inside, then you lose that assisted opening and it would just suck. Now, this blade shape is one of the it's a mainstay on whoever owns a knife. That blade shape, they've usually seen that blade shape, and that's a clip point. A very basic shape. If this was non-serrated, it would function well as a camp duty knife. I mean, this can still slice your potatoes, onions, whatever you would want to have for food prep. And food prep, you have stainless or non-coated steel for food prepping, because you don't want a painted coating that may contain lead touching your food. So serrations are mainly for cutting big chunks, mostly a rope. Cutting a rope with this guy with a non-serrated edge as compared to cutting a rope with a serrated edge would be faster, especially if the rope is in tension. You know, there's a load on the rope. That's usually the emergencies that you have when you're caught in a rope and then the rope is in tension. a serrated edge would function really well on those kind of scenarios, because you can start the cut, for example, an abaca rope, a big abaca rope, maybe a diameter of this. If it's in tension and you get entangled in that kind of thing, start with that serrated edge, then you can already fray it, and then it just goes smoother with the serrated edge. That's my main purpose for serrated edge blades. Rope cutting. Now some would argue that yeah, you can basically cut it with a good non-serrated edge. Yes, a good non-serrated edge, sharp non-serrated edge would function as well, but you don't have that sawing action as good as this one. And another arguing point would be, it's very hard to sharpen serrated edges in the field, because you have to have that specialized rod things, tiny rods that you need to put in between those teeth, every single one of them. So it's very tedious sharpening serrated edges. But that's just something that you do once in a while. You know, it doesn't go dull overnight. It's just that. And I do not mean to be off topic. I just wanted to cover this, the qualities that I would want personally in a knife, because that would ultimately answer the big question on what type of knife are you fond of collecting. So as I've explained, from the fixed blade, small fixed blade tracker with a little bit of girth, to the upswept Persian, to the karambit and the folding knives and the serrated edges, I guess I'm leaning more into the tactical to an everyday use camp knife. And wouldn't we all want to have those kind of things? Everyday use. It's just something that you can use every day. And that would be my answer to the question that I asked my good friend, the Yorkshire Bladesman. What type of knife are you fond of collecting and why? This more or less my summary of my answer to my own question. So do let me know what type of knife you prefer collecting as well. Leave it in the comments, engage me, keep things civilized. You know, we all have our own opinions, and I do respect that. You're entitled to your own opinion, whatever it may be, because that's how you see it. That's just democracy and not a dictatorship. And YouTube is free, and the main focus is keep the information flowing. And that would be it, folks. I hope you liked the video. Do leave comments, press the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and just keep on going with the information. Hope you liked the video, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.